You've just entered the No Delusion Zone. I'm David Debato. Today, I'd like to discuss what certainly is a national security issue for the United States of America. And that has to do with the ongoing recruiting problems for the United States Army. It's no secret that the U.S. Army has had some real problems, some real issues trying to get enough recruits for the last several years to meet its quota. And in fact, I think for the last 2, 3, maybe even 4 years, but certainly the last couple of years, they haven't met their quota. They've been down by as many as, I believe, 15,000 or more each year. And keep in mind, that is after they have lowered the criteria for soldiers, which I was vehemently against doing, even if they didn't make their quota. Why? Well, I think for pretty obvious reasons. If a soldier can't read or write at even a 10th grade level, then they're going to have a hard time with modern technology, with modern weapons. You have to be able to read and write pretty well. You have to understand modern technology, and you certainly have to know your way around computers. And yes, young people today know their way around computers as far as playing video games, but it goes way beyond that. When you're trying to program an artillery barrage, when you're trying to maintain a very sophisticated, modern B-1, B-2 bomber, or work upon a naval craft, a nuclear naval craft, you need a little bit more than being able to play video games. And let's get back to the Army, though. I want to talk specifically about the U.S. Army because that's what I'm most familiar with. As many of you know who have watched me before or who want to read my profile, I am a former U.S. Army soldier. In fact, I am retired from the U.S. Army, where I served in the intelligence branch. And I'll tell you, I love the Army. I love the United States Army. I'm a fan. So this video, this podcast, is because I love the U.S. Army. And I want it to be able to maintain and, in fact, grow its numbers, but grow it with the proper caliber of soldiers that we need. And I guess one of the things I want to mention, two points I want to make today in this podcast. One is that the U.S. Army, as I said, has a real problem in recruiting enough soldiers just to make its quota. And a while back, maybe 6, 7 months ago, at the most, I offered free of charge to just place a link on my website and here on the podcast and to talk about the U.S. Army, about the opportunities in the U.S. Army for young people in America, and even to invite recruiters onto my podcast to interview them. Or I actually asked the head of the U.S. Recruiting Command, the marketing section branch of the U.S. recruiting effort in Chicago, if they would be interested in speaking with me and or putting some kind of a marketing program together that I would place again on my podcast or on my website. And all I received was crickets, silence, nothing, not even the decency of a reply. And again, since they are in real dire straits, I find it quite fascinating that they would turn down any offer to help, even if I only had one subscriber, and even if only one 18-year-old was out there listening to me, that they would turn down a free effort to try to reach that 18-year-old. But they did. They're not interested at all. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing. If anybody reads their email or their texts or their other social media that I've tried to contact them on, apparently not. And I'll be honest with you, that pisses me off. I really, really like the Army. I really want them to be able to make their quota. I really want them to maintain their numbers and to grow and to bring in more soldiers, more capable young people to grow this Army, to make it stronger. And when they don't even have the ability, much less the decency or the professional courtesy to respond to people on the air, call me an influencer, if you will, that are willing to help them for free, I think that's really stupid. I'll be honest, it's stupid. It's bad business. And I can almost see why their marketing efforts are falling flat. Okay, not that I'm blowing my own horn. I don't have 1 million subscribers yet, but there are people that watch me, and there are people that talk to the people that watch me that I think could be potential soldiers in the United States Army. So ignoring me is, as I said, it's stupid. So that's point number one. Point number two, and perhaps a lot more important than the Army posting marketing on my podcast or website, is this. And this really hasn't been talked about a lot that I can see, that I've heard. The U.S. Army, who, by the way, fell again short this year. It looks like they're not going to make it in this fiscal year, is marketing solely to people, demographics in the 18 to 21 age group. The vast majority of their marketing efforts, high school graduates, or sometimes not even high school graduates, in the 18 to 20 or 21 demographic age group. I think that's a huge mistake. Why? A couple of reasons. One, the most recent statistic I read was that only about 23% of young people in America in that age range even qualify to enlist in the United States Army. 23%. That's not even a quarter of all the people in that age range. And that is for a variety of different reasons. Medical, emotional, criminal records, drugs, not being able to pass the written test or background, any number of issues. They're just not eligible to enlist in the United States Army. Only 23%. And yet that's where 99% or more of the Army's budget and recruiting efforts go. That's stupid. That's counterproductive. So let me bring you to my next thought, which is my idea, and I'm sure I'm not the first one to think of this. There are probably millions of Americans over the age of 21, between the age of 21 and I'll say 50, maybe even more, that are either veterans from the U.S. Army or other branches of the U.S. military, or non-veterans in that age range who are more than willing, in fact, are motivated, extremely motivated to join the U.S. military. I'm, again, talking about the U.S. Army right now. I know this for a fact. I talk to people like that, and I read about this all the time online, in written journals and so forth. People that are ignored by the U.S. Army in their marketing efforts, that have all kinds of different skills, ranging from law enforcement to computer to medical, to the construction trades, mechanics, you name it. People that would be an excellent fit for the U.S. Army. You don't have to be a decathlon Olympic athlete to go into the U.S. Army. They shouldn't be concentrating on football and track stars. Yes, they're good. We need those people. We need hard hitters. We need very physically and mentally fit soldiers. There's no doubt about it. But we also need a lot of people who can't run through brick walls and fly and jump off the top of tall buildings and so forth. We need them. We need them. Yes, they should be physically and emotionally fit. They should be able to pass an Army physical fitness test and maintain that level of fitness throughout their military careers. But they don't have to be special forces qualified or even infantry qualified. They need to be able to do what they do best. And with the way that modern technology, especially weapons technology, is evolving, we are desperately in need of those people. And the Army, they ignore them. It's like they don't exist. That is stupid. It's stupid business. It's stupid recruiting. It just doesn't make any sense. I believe, and U.S. Army, contact me if you think I'm wrong. I believe if they redirected their efforts, both budgetary and their recruiting efforts, towards the 21 to 50 or 50 plus age demographic, people that want to join the U.S. Army, that have never been contacted, that don't even think that the Army would want them, that they're qualified. If the U.S. Army focused on these people, I believe they would have too many recruits. They'd never be short 15 or 20 or 25,000 recruits in a fiscal year. I think they'd have to turn people away. And we'd have a much better Army all the way around. People qualified, overqualified for all the specialties right now and in the future that the Army is going to have. Yes, we'd have enough infantry. We'd have enough mechanics and logistics people and special forces and all the other specialties that the Army needs, but we'd also have all the other specialties that right now we can't fill. We can't fill. We have to stop emphasizing athletes, just athletes, and 18 to 20-year-old people, because it's not going to make it. They're not interested right now. Not enough of them. The U.S. Army needs to refocus their efforts on reality. Target people over the age of 21 going all the way up to 50 and maybe beyond that are veterans or non-veterans that are very motivated to join the U.S. Army, are physically and mentally fit, can pass a background test and investigation, and have the working knowledge that the U.S. Army needs now and in the near future. And I say, U.S. Army, you won't have these recruiting problems again. Just my 2 cents. Tell me what you think. Please subscribe to this channel, to my channel, the No Delusion Zone, so I can make more of these and upset people like the U.S. Army and some other folks in this government, because they need it and we need it. So again, look down at the bottom, subscribe to this channel, and also let me know what you think in the comments. I really want to get some dialogue going on this, especially, but also in my future podcast. So thank you for watching, and as always, take care, stay safe, and above all, stay sane.